All right, welcome to the studio. Today we're gonna be doing one of my favorite exercises, which is painting this plain fruit. This is a pear. Get a lot of people asking me how I make these. I make them out of air-dried clay, but I just wanted to do a quick little demonstration to show you the benefits of doing this exercise and how it's gonna help you with things like getting the right color. It's gonna help you with the drawing, seeing values, and creating form. Also, I wanted to show you because I'm going to be doing this exercise along with a few other paintings during Paint Week, which is coming up in early September. So if you wanna check that out, it's completely free. If you don't know what Paint Week is, a couple times a year, I host like a free online workshop, focusing on certain areas of painting. And this time it's gonna be kind of like foundational skills, talking about planes. We're gonna do a still life. We're gonna do a landscape using the big shapes method. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun. There's a private Facebook group that you can post your work in. On the last day, on Saturday, I'll be doing a live Q&A on Zoom where I'm gonna critique some students' paintings and just do some more teaching. So if you wanna check that out, there's a link to it in the description of this video. But let's get going with this exercise. My palette, pretty simple. Got the ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, cadmium red, cadmium lemon, and titanium white. It's got some paint thinner, no medium today. I'm actually not gonna be using any medium in Paint Week either, just to kind of show students how you don't need to use medium. There's a lot of great painters out there that don't use medium. And I've actually found that when students don't use it at first, it helps them use the right amount of paint. Because one of the most common problems I see students have is that they just don't use enough paint when they're painting. So I'm just gonna get some ultramarine blue, some cadmium red, a little bit of the yellow, just kind of pretty much creating almost like a reddish brown to draw this in. And let's just say at top, it's gonna be right there. And one of the great things that this exercise helps you with is drawing in straight lines, which you've probably have heard me say before, because it's, the pear is made as straight lines. And it's good to draw with straight lines because it's easier to mimic and draw a straight line than a curved line. If this was like, this line was like perfectly smooth and curved, it'd be a lot harder to draw that and replicate that than a straight line. This kind of comes out here. All right, so I think we got our pear there. Maybe bring it up just a little bit. And then I'm going to put this cast shadow, which is very important. Comes right there. Let's have a runoff right there. And this is just like a Frederick's canvas pad. I just put a wash of burnt sienna and ultramarine blue, wiped with a paper towel. I got that, and then kind of the change in color right there. I'm just gonna put a little border around this row just to help us with the purposes of the exercise. Now, what I like to do in this drawing stage is block out just light and shadow. And if you squint your eyes, I'm gonna see exactly where that shadow happens, which is right like that. And I was just using a number 0 flat brush to draw that in. Use whatever brush you feel comfortable with, but let's move into a number 2 flat brush. Just kind of making a more of this dark or this kind of reddish brown, but just blocking out the shadow shape. This just helps so much, just identifying light and shadow first. It already has some form to it. So now I'm going to block out the shadow color first. And I'm just going to block out just one base color. Like I know there's a bunch of colors happening here, like it gets warmer down here. That's a little more green. We'll get to that. But it's just going to help you if you just start with just like a base shadow color. So it's going to be a green, so blue and yellow, and then some red to desaturate it a bit because it's not like a super vibrant green. Something like that. And I'm using a number 4 brush. Another thing I'm going to talk about in Paint Week is brushwork. Got like a little demo on brushwork and some things you can do to help your brushwork. There we go, and I'm just going to push a little bit of that into that shadow. So I got the shadowed side. Now I need to do the light side. I always say do the darkest light that you can. So you don't want to go and like make that light. You want something kind of like this. So I'm gonna add some more yellow, a little more red. You can see I was branched off from my dark color. Help color harmony, like branching off from other colors. Do a little test. That's not too bad. First saw this exercise in Kevin McPherson's book. I always forget which one it was. It was either fill your oil paintings with light and color. I think that was it. I think that was the one. The other one's painting landscapes inside and out. Both amazing books. Highly recommend both of them. All right, let's get some of the background in. It's like a gray. I try not to like say anything is gray. Like things are grayed down. Like this is a grayed down purple. So if I get some blue and some red, some white, make a purple, and then neutralize it with purple's complement, which is yellow, that should get a gray. Something like that. I like getting the background in early, getting the surrounding colors in, just to see what it's gonna look like. And a lot of times these colors can be seen reflected into the subject itself. Like I'm actually going to take some of this and lightly, actually I'm going to probably push a little more blue and a little more red, make it a little bit darker here, but just pushing a little bit of that into there. But I actually think I need to make this background lighter because I'm looking at the difference, the value difference between light and dark. So I'm going to adjust that, just push a little more white into this. Something like that. Oil painting is so much adjusting. You got that right there. If you need to, like I'm gonna come back, kind of crisping that up. Now for the ground, some white crimson, but that's gonna be way too saturated. So I'm gonna push a little bit of blue, a little bit of yellow into it, to make it not nearly as saturated. Something like that looks about right. I'm gonna push a little more blue. I'm actually just gonna pull in some of that background color into it. Kind of angle that bottom part right there a bit. All right, so we got kind of like a little bit of everything happening here. Like we got a base for everything, except the shadow actually. Let me push a little more blue because the shadow gets cooler as it gets further away. So something like that. But this is like a great place to be right here where everything is blocked in. Now we can start having some fun and dialing in values and identifying planes. So I got dark, I got light. I like to start a lot of times with the shadows and like I want to get some of this reflected light. You can see like kind of how orange it gets there. So I'm going to take that green that I had, push a little bit of yellow and red into it, and I'm going to like work this in. I don't want to make it too bright because it's still in the shadows, but like I can see this plane right here. It's definitely getting affected by it. And it kind of similar here. Gets a little darker. Push a little blue and kind of create like a darker red, kind of like right here in this plane. You see, like I make a mark, and if I don't like the color, like I don't keep going, like I stop and I adjust. This kind of comes up all the way there. So I got some, see a little bit happening up here too. Now I want to find some of these greens or values that are like in between light and dark, like right there and right there. So I'm searching for something in between value-wise. Not too dark, not too light. It's got a good amount of red in it too. Kind of something like that. Same here. Like this plane there. And this plane. This is kind of okay there. But you can see just by, I've only worked in shadows and I've already added so much form to the pear. But let's go to light. Let's kind of get a light green. Making sure it's desaturated. Shape it some. It's not too bad. So this plane here. I like that. And probably the brightest area, kind of like right there. But I think that's good. I'm liking this. I mean, you can always go in and adjust, and you can also exaggerate things. That's the cool thing about doing this, is once you get the hang of it, you can push things. Like I can push the reflected light on this if I want to and exaggerate it in places that I want. That might be able to be a little bit lighter. All right, now I'm just going to get the darkest dark, the cad red, ultramarine blue, a little bit of yellow right down at the bottom here. Get this darkest dark. It's going to help sit the object down. Right there. You got nice plain fruit here. And see, now if you went and after this painted a normal pear and you have this in your head, it's going to help you see the planes more. I'm actually seeing a little plane right here, which is facing up. It's kind of like a little shelf. Just right there. All right, hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Again, if you want to try this and get more in depth with me, along with a landscape painting using the big shapes method, please sign up for Paint Week. It's completely free. It's a ton of fun. I only do it a couple times a year. The link to sign up is in the description of this video. All right, I'm Chris Fornatero here telling you to go get painting.